Oh yeah. Another certified classic. Young boys are at it again. You're tuned into the Off-Brand Podcast. Word to your mother.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Off-Brand Podcast, where we talk design, side projects, life, and get a bit off topic with our creative friends. I'm Dave Lydiard, that's Kyle Tillman.
Hey.
And this episode we're joined by Craig Black, typographer, designer, and lettering artist, all the way out here from Scotland. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming along.
Cheers.
I suppose, what brings you to Australia?
So I'm out here doing an international speaking tour with AGDA. I'm speaking in 5 cities. Currently I've spoken in Sydney, Perth, and Adelaide so far, which was fantastic, really, really great. I'm in Brisbane right now. I have a workshop to do tomorrow, which will be great. Doing an acrylic fusion lettering installation, basically throwing paint about and having fun. And then I'll fly to Melbourne and I'll do a talk there, and then I'm at Hobart, and then I fly back to Sydney to get my flight back to Scotland to the very cold weather.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
a whirlwind.
That is whirlwind.
It's been a crazy trip so far, flying all over the place, but it's been amazing. I've been fortunate to be able to take my wife with me, Ali, and we both loved Australia. I'm loving everything about it, especially the weather. I said, it was so cold. It was ridiculously cold leaving Scotland, so we turned up and it was really warm here. We were happy days. So I don't know what I'm going to feel like when I go back.
I know, yeah, you won't be wearing the shorts and thongs.
No chance, no.
Like coming from Noosa, you're not just like bright red. You've done all this.
Yeah, the wife made sure I put sun cream in. Yeah, I usually burn the nose. That's usually what happens. Yeah.
So the tour you're doing with AGDA, what's the sort of topic you're talking about? Or
it's called Craft Your Future. It's basically all about my kind of story, how I get into the game, what I've learned along the way, the highs and lows, the emotional factor of it, and giving also kind of valuable tips that have helped me along the way in terms of business and getting your work known and people to kind of connect with you. And it's just it's an emotional journey, actually. It's been about it all, from my early days of being a professional football player to design, to now working from a home studio, working with clients across the world, which is incredible, and getting to share that, it's just amazing. I think one of the special things about the whole talk itself is connecting with different people at different stages of their career and life, whether it's graduates or seasoned professionals, and the response afterwards of each talk that I've done so far has been incredible, mind blowing, and everyone's referencing different parts of the talk.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite special, and I started doing this Craft Your Future talk maybe, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and it was just a kind of small event in Glasgow. For about 3-4 years ago I really started doing that was my first time doing public speaking, and it was an event in Glasgow, and it was like in front of 20 people, and I was absolutely petrified. I literally shat my pants.
it's often scary, smaller crowds.
Yeah.
They're
more judging. They're just
more judging.
You see everyone's face.
Yeah.
Because this year, from that small event, I've now been able to kind of tour the world doing talks. So this year I was at Off Festival in Barcelona, which is like European, probably one of the world's biggest design conferences.
Yeah.
And I spoke in front of I think it was 1,500 people.
Jeez.
But the weird thing is, I felt so calm because I didn't see everyone's face.
Yeah.
Now, I spoke in Adelaide 2 nights ago, and there was 35 people, and I could see everyone's face, and it was more intimidating because you're reading all the emotions.
Yeah.
And you're trying some funny moments, and people don't laugh, and you're like, fuck.
I find when I'm even just when I'm doing workshops and stuff, people's faces are kind of, I think they're just concentrating, but you don't know whether they're just get me out of here, this is fucked.
Which is usually the right one.
Yeah, or whether they're concentrating. So usually when I'm doing workshops, I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck you guys are thinking, so just give me a thumbs up if you are enjoying the content.
The weirdest part is when you finish the talks, and the immediate thought that goes through my head is, I fucked this up. I always do it. And then someone comes up and says something really nice, but those people who are maybe like not giving you non-emotional face, they'll come up to you and say, that was the most inspiring talk of my life, like, and all this, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, you gave me nothing, and I was like pouring my heart out to you, and you gave me nothing. But it's just the way people take information on, and like you said, they're concentrating. But yeah, it's been incredible to share the story, and I hope to continue and share it, and hopefully it inspires more and more creatives and people. It doesn't have to be creatives. Learning from my story and how it can help them. A big part of it is positivity, and I'm a huge believer in positivity, and it's made a benefit to my life and my career, which is something that we could all do a lot more, especially in the world of it's getting more and more negative.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially the way social media is and all that jazz, and creatives are very sensitive people. Definitely. And we get caught up in every single little detail and think the world is against us. Which is, we need to kind of take a step back and realise that there's more important things in the world.
That's true,
And taking a leaf out of just being more positive, really.
I think the positivity thing's great. Like, I was talking to someone recently, and I think we really easily can judge ourselves negatively and not sort of look back on what you've done in a positive way and just, that was actually really good. That project was awesome. You more look back and say, I should have done it this way, I should have done it that way. So I think positivity is really
one thing I speak about, not on my talks, but in any other time, is how proud I am of myself and what I've achieved in a short space of time. My career's been, I've only been in the game for 6 years, you could say, and I've achieved a hell of a lot.
Awesome.
And I'm proud of myself for doing that, because I don't know if it's the same here, but with probably a Scottish or even a British mentality, if someone's proud of themselves and actually pushes that out into the social media and the world, you're kind of seen as full of shit.
Tall poppy syndrome. That's what I call it.
And it's a fucking horrible stigma. And I'm personally trying to kind of break it as much as I possibly can, because I believe if I can be positive and proud of who I am, then it gives light on to others to do the same. And it doesn't have to be in case of your work, whatever your passions are or what you do outside of work, and telling that to the world. There's no shame in that, and I think we should all share it, because you start to connect with people who have the same likes as you and all those kind of things. And I think it's important we do it, because I just believe that doing things like that breeds more positivity and being proud of who you are. Because another thing that I started to do, going on the whole thing of looking back at what you achieved, I used to be so kind of narrow focused in terms of, I finished this project, what's next? Now, my wife Ali is a mental health nurse, and she's helped a lot, and she's implemented a few techniques over the years, but one of the things she's always said to me is, when something big happens, celebrate it. And it's something simple like buying a pair of trainers. Like, that's my kind of thing, is buying a pair of trainers, Nike Air Max usually. Or even just taking time out and going for a nice meal. And just unwinding that way. Because we get so caught up in like what to do the next thing, or bigger and better each time, and it can be kind of soul destroying. Because I think for me, like, I do set myself extremely high goals, and I work incredibly hard to make those goals a reality, but it's all those small baby steps that make that become a reality. And it's even working with your local community and working on a project with them, and you complete it and it's time to celebrate. It doesn't have to be the big massive brand in the world or the big agency that you've worked with that you need to celebrate. Like, every little small kind of opportunity that you feel like, I've done something important here, or I've done something great, celebrate it. And I think that should be kind of showcased more, especially in the creative industry. I really believe in that.
I agree, totally. I think, like, just from my experience, like a year ago, I found out that I'd been fucking right up on my tax, and I had a humongous tax bill.
It's easy to do.
And I was really down for like about 3 months. It really like screwed me up, because I'm like, I've been working this hard. I thought I was doing everything right. I'm a failure, all that sort of stuff. And then it was right at the end of the year, probably around this time last year, and I didn't have a chance to look back at the year,
Yeah.
That had been, and just and celebrate it, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I worked with fucking Wu-Tang that year, and
That's fucking awesome.
and just worked with some amazing people. And
I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
I know the guy did that.
yeah. So yeah, I didn't have a chance. It wasn't until like maybe early this year. I'm like, okay, now that we're through all that, I can be like, yeah, that was awesome.
It is. On that note, like, I work from a home studio, so essentially I've got no one around me. My wife comes in like 4:45, and then when she comes in, I've got all these built up, maybe anxiety or whatever, like the frustrations from that day, and I just offload fucking this, blah 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 blah, and it's just finding a way of just getting it out of your system. So I used to get so wound up, and when she came in, it was like I was offloading that way, and I found that it wasn't beneficial to me, and it wasn't beneficial to my wife, obviously, because I'm shouting at her with all my frustration. So when all those kind of angst moments I get, I literally walk out the house, and I've got this 100 yards from the house is this beautiful promenade, and I literally just go a walk for like 30 minutes, or maybe I go to the gym for an hour and just turn my phone off. I don't do any look at emails, just turn it off. Just totally disconnect, and just makes me refocus. And when I come in, I've got a clearer mind. I'm not saying totally clear, but a clearer mind, and that's hugely benefited me. Especially in moments when you're doing your tax and all these kind of things, it can bog you down, and especially because you've worked so hard, and then you feel like, oh, this money's going away to someone else. And so those moments I've learned to step away. Which is a tough thing to do. Because you always think like, I've only got so much time, I need to do this, I need to do this, but it's actually more beneficial to step away for at least 30 minutes to an hour, or even longer. Take the bloody full day off if you need to, and then come back fresh the next day. Because if you build up the anxiety and all those frustrations, it becomes very unproductive, even for the next day or next 3 months it lasted for you.
I mean, you don't get there's a lot of pressure, and you don't get quality work done because your mind is just elsewhere, and it's hard to, obviously as creatives we need to get into that zone of creating, and then those ideas start flowing, and that's where the good, like the magic work comes from. It's definitely really good. It's like meditation, I suppose, as well. Do you guys do you do meditation? I've started to recently, just little bits.
I started doing Headspace. That's like the only level of meditation I could do. But it's hugely benefited me. Really has. I actually have a reminder on my phone saying, "Do your meditation." But now I've got it kind of programmed when I wake up in the morning, when I'm working from home. Like I've got a routine. And I'll explain it. So I get up, and before I've even looked at my phone, before I go to sleep at night, I put my phone away from my bed, like in the next room. And when I wake up in the morning, I don't go anywhere near it for at least 25, 30 minutes. So when I wake up immediately, I do, it sounds pretty cheesy, but being kind of grateful and gratitude. And I say all these things of why I'm...
Mindfulness exercise.
Basically, and it just saying things that I'm very grateful for, which happened in my life and what I have currently. Because I'm hugely grateful for everything that I have in my life. And what most people tend to do is want what they don't have rather than wanting what they do have. So when I wake up, I do this routine, and I'm thankful for all the people in my life. And then following that, I walk into the home studio in the next room, and then do my meditation. And then from that 10 minutes of doing that meditation, it kind of sets me up. And then following that, I have affirmations on my wall, and I also have goal setting. So I've got 4 pieces of A4 paper on my studio wall right in front of me, and it says year 1, year 3, year 5, and year 10. And on each piece of paper is 4 goals, which I want to achieve in these year frames. And I say them out loud, because I believe that if you say it out loud to the world, it can in some way come back to you. And I started doing this as a routine maybe about a year ago, and it's honestly changed my life. It's so weird, because I come from a background where, I don't want to say this, but my older brother is just a typical lad. If I started talking to him years ago about doing meditation, he'd be like, shut up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, go get the beers or whatever. But now I do tell him all these things, and he's actually like encouraging me, and he's actually starting to implement some of the techniques for his own life, which is
That's
great.
cool.
But the crazy thing is, see when you say these powerful affirmations out, all this positive kind of mantra, one, you feel great about yourself, you feel great, you start to become a better person for the people around you. But when you start to say all these goals out loud, it actually reaffirms my focus. So when I actually get back home from the UK, I can tick off one of these goals which I set. So last year I set a goal of doing public speaking across the world, across Europe, Australia and America. I had no idea how to make those happen, right? I literally had no idea. But I thought every single day, if I can say this out loud and actually work on a plan to maybe make those things happen. So each day, little baby steps each single day, whether it's contacting someone or speaking to someone who works in this field or putting my stuff out there, it shows that I can do public speaking. And this year, it has just been unreal, absolutely unreal. Like I spoke at Off Festival in Barcelona, I was in Paris, last month I was in New York, speaking with AIGA, the Museum of Art and Design. Crazy. Now I'm in Australia doing the AGDA tour, which is, I'm speaking in 5 cities and being in Brisbane doing the workshop. And then I've been asked to do one in Poland in December, and then I'm potentially doing one in Portugal, and then a following one in Madrid in March time. It's just bonkers. And
I hope you're flying business class or something like economy, even premium economy. Like that's rough.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but these are the moments I need to look back and see what I've achieved and be proud of each single moment that these occur. It was always a dream of mine to be here in Australia and do this tour, and even in Barcelona, and I got to do it. And I'm like, fucking yes, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I totally believe like it was because I said it out all those times every single morning and all this positive mantra, and I try and keep positive every single day. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like a saint or like some sort of monk, but
we all have our moments.
We do have our moments. But what I've done is I've reprogrammed my mind. When things get tough and sometimes get negative, I can quickly take that into a positive and make me refocus much more quicker. It makes me more productive. And that's why I think a huge reason is my productivity levels are so high and my output is so high is because of this mindset that I have. Because it could easily get caught up in all the minute details of a fucking word mark or a branded project or a mural project. But the way I look at it is, you set yourself a deadline, whatever that deadline is, or the client sets or whatever it is, and whatever you can achieve in that time frame, that is it. That's the best you could possibly do in that time frame, and then you move on. You don't think, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. It's the best you could possibly do, and that's it, and then you move on. Like I could look back now on my work and go, oh, I could fine tune this, I could fine tune that, make it better. Everyone could. You've got to be able to just let things go, I think. Just move on, and just even if you made a mistake, you learn from it not to do it again. But just become more efficient that way. I just snowballed there until
that's good. That's what it's all about. It's good.
Have you always freelanced, or did you work studio or in-house, or?
So when I graduated in 2013, I moved to London. When I graduated, I applied for about 50, probably 60 design jobs across the world and got rejected every single time. It was ridiculous. But I persisted because I always felt I had something to give. And it's important for me to say that because if people see my career now and think, oh, he's just brilliant, it just happens for him. No, I had to work. So I eventually got a job at a company called Red Bee Media, who are a broadcast design agency. So at the time that I joined them, they were like the in-house team to the BBC, but it was all motion design, and I was a print-based background, so I had no idea how to use After Effects. I was like, fuck, what am I doing here? But I seen it as an opportunity to get my foot in the door to like learn. So I got in, I managed to learn a bit of After Effects, but I have no idea how to do it now. I've not even touched it since I've left. Honestly, I don't even do
battling with it at the moment. It's hard.
So from that, I spent 2 years there, and then I went to a company called Gregory Boner Hale, which were a more print-based kind of agency. I was only there for 6 months, but when I was working those two jobs, I was working evenings and weekends practicing typography and lettering. I was working on my craft because when I graduated, I knew exactly what I wanted to become, was an independent designer, running my own home, working from a home studio with clients across the world. That was my goal, and fortunate enough, I knew that from day one, and I set up a path. How can I make this work? So practice, and then I went back home after a few years in London. Went back to Scotland, back home, set up the home studio, but I started to kind of freelance a few times, and I've freelanced with an agency called Craft. In Glasgow, who are now they're a branding and packaging design agency specialising in the drinks industry, and they're now doing incredibly well. But I started with them, and it was just the two founders. Joined forces with them, and the three of us quickly grew to, I think it was 8 or 9 within a year. But I was combining my own practice with that as well, and it was essentially wanting 2 full-time jobs again, and I was just not in the right frame of mind. And then after that, I think I was there for 18 months, and I just woke up one morning and said, I need to go do my own thing again, because it was too much work. I was like trying to juggle the first stuff and do my own stuff as well, and it was just challenging. It was just really, really challenging. So when I went back on my own and set up the studio, and I've never technically freelance with other agencies, it's more like studio-based projects, or people coming directly for a specific type of lettering projects, which has been fantastic. So when I did set up my own studio again, like I had no money, I had no clients at that time. It was like, what the fuck? But again, I'm a big believer in saying things out to the universe, and I actually said it out to social media and LinkedIn. I seen that I'm back out my own doing these things. If anyone needs help on a type lettering work, give me a shout. And I got these small projects here and there. It kind of took me by. It was challenging the first few months, and then the bigger one came. People, mean bigger, I mean pay the bills, paying more and more. And then that's been a couple of years now, and like every project comes through the door is specifically type and lettering work, which is fantastic. Whether it's branding, or doing an installation or murals, and also being a consultant now, which has been a weird transition.
That's cool.
Which is really, really cool. So people are coming to me and asking me specifically, like, what's your thoughts on this type work, or where can you see this being improved? And that's been awesome, because I've worked bloody hard to be in this area or specialist field. So that was a wee moment for me. I was like, no, well done, Craig. You know what I mean? Like, to be in this consultant. I never thought that something like that would be possible, to be honest, but I did. So we're in the home studio now, from my hometown, which is great. And one of the clients across the world, which is fucking bonkers, but got to go with it.
That's the dream.
It's awesome.
Like, what about outside of work and the actual paying the bills, like passion projects, side projects, all that other, the fringe stuff?
Well, previous life used to be a professional football player. So I played the game for 5 or 6 years. When I grew up, the dream was always to be a football player. Design was nowhere near, not even on the periphery. So I did it for 6 years, and when I left and walked away from football, it was a soul destroying moment, because football can be quite political. And no matter how well I played and how hard I tried in training, I just wasn't getting the opportunities. And it was just countless disappointment after disappointment. Like, I thought, this is my chance. Wouldn't get a strip, or I was too young, or just poor excuses. And I was doing really well, and I'm proud of myself, because I gave everything I had. And it was weird. It was a weird time, because I was a local boy in the local team, so the newspapers were saying, like, give Black a chance, and all these stuff. And and people were coming up to me in the street and saying, why aren't you playing? I'm like, shrugging my shoulders. I don't know what else I could possibly do. And I would go in and speak to the manager, and it would be, it's just as like, well, we're going to go for more experienced players. And I'm like, fucking hell, like, I'm doing better than them in training. I'm in the reserve games. I'm doing everything possible to be better, and just so it came to that point. We just had enough of the game, and I had offers to stay. I had offers to go to other clubs, but I just had enough. It was making me really unhappy. I actually got to the point where I was making up excuses not to go to training,
Right.
It was that
That's
bad.
hard when you love it. It's like when
It was because a lot of people don't understand the mental aspect of being a professional football player because it's such a fun thing to do, and it is a kind of privilege. It is to be able to go play that game, and people go, how can you be unhappy when you're playing football? But I'm not really. I'm training, but with no end result. I'm not getting to play the games.
Yeah.
And I've done that for a long period of time. Don't get me wrong, I did play some games, and then I would get dropped for just the manager didn't like me, even though I was like man of the match. I was the turning point. I remember getting the man of the match, and it was in a derby. Came on, we played that game. Got man of the match, and then I get dropped. And the next game got dropped. Wasn't even on the bench. I was in the stand, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And there was an uproar. The crowd were singing my name.
Yeah.
Saying like, "Why is he basically saying why is he not playing?"
Yeah.
And I was distraught. I was sitting in the crowd and almost in tears, just going, "What have I done wrong?" And I started to question who I was as a person at that point.
Yeah.
Really, really challenging time. And so I pulled the plug. And to be honest, I'm glad I did it because it's led to this amazing world that I'm doing now of typing lettering, and I'm much, much better at typing lettering than I ever was at football. But I still love football, I still follow it. I unfortunately can't play the game anymore because my hamstrings and my back just can't handle it. And plus, I tried made a comeback. What was it? I think it was last year. I tried making a comeback, and my mind was 2 steps ahead of my body, and I just couldn't keep up. So that's. I don't know if that's not even a side project, but that's basically a different life from me. But
well, look at you now. You're kicking goals. And you're just like,
goals.
wow.
Do you know what to say to that?
yeah, I said I was proud of you before. Like.
Oh, go on, that was sick. That was awesome. Come on. I've been sitting on that for ages. Waiting to finish that story.
Just wait for the right moment. So other kind of side projects. So I another thing I could probably speak about is the creative Inverclyde thing.
Yeah, this is huge.
This has been probably another life-changing moment for me actually. So last year, I got to speak at the design conference in Brisbane. That's where I met you, Kyle. First, it was awesome at conference. But what I loved about the conference in Brisbane as a whole is the community and the impact that art has on the community here. And all the creatives get involved in creating a lot of good stuff in the area. And it blew me away. And it just the way you all got on with one another, like as a culture, was really amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that Brisbane, Gold Coast, Queensland does very well. Like a creative community is pretty tight.
It is,
It's not, there's competition, but it's not unfriendly or it's pretty healthy.
Yeah, and everyone's just sort of on the same team, really.
And that was what really inspired me, with that kind of togetherness.
Yeah.
So when I went back home, and I was buzzing from the conference.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
But I realised that I had something to give and make a difference. Do you want me to booze?
Yeah,
Sure.
We'll take a quick beer break. Inverclyde.
I went back home and I realised that I had something to give and I felt like I could make a difference. And basically take what Australia and Brisbane has and bring that back to my own hometown of Inverclyde, which is like the district. I had no idea what I was going to do. I really didn't. But I started speaking to Andrew Bowman, who at the time was like the business development manager of RI, which is Riverside Inverclyde, and he was essentially the kind of guy you go to for all business related stuff in the area. He's a brilliant guy, and he works across Europe and stuff like that. And I said, I want to do something to make a difference. And he says, well, you've done this public speaking thing, like people really don't know who you are in Inverclyde because you've just came back or whatever reasons, and it'd be a good way for you to kind of showcase. He says, why don't you do a talk? And I said, okay, rather than me do a talk, why don't I create a platform for other creatives in the area to do a talk, like share their story? Like, because when I went back home to Inverclyde, like I knew there was creatives there, but I didn't know who they really were. Like really, it is like one of those. Oh, someone's an artist or someone's a Scot. When I'm talking about town, I'm like, it's just small, like very small. So I managed to put this event. I'm like grab the bull by the horns kind of thing. Like I'm going to put on an event. So within a few weeks, Andrew said to me, right, I've got a venue for you. We'll market it. What are you going to call it? And I was like, Creative Inverclyde. Because Inverclyde is creative. That was how it started. Honestly, that's how it started. He's like, right, cool, right?
It's very SEO friendly.
Yeah, big time. And so I managed to find 4 creatives in the area. One was an artist, a sculptor, a photographer, and an architect. And basically give them like 10-15 minute slots to share the story. But the whole point of it is they weren't like professionals at public speaking. It was just anyone, and that's the whole point, was to give them confidence, and also in a kind of networking scene as well. So the first event must have had about 20 people. And 10 of them were my family and friends. But from that night, it sparked something in the community, and it sparked something in me. Really, I didn't realise that how empowering it was going to be for me to help someone else and give them a platform. It was nothing to do with me. It was nothing in terms of I was sharing my story. It was nothing to do with me at all. It was giving other people a chance to share their story, to make, like, basically be heard.
Yeah.
So one of the women that were in the audience came up to me afterwards, and she was actually like very emotional, and she says, "This is special. Whatever you're creating here is very special, and I need this.
Wow.
I need this for myself,
cool.
and Inverclyde needs this." And I was like, "Fuck!" So I came away from that, and to be honest, right, I've spoke at a few conferences before, and like you get a high, it's really amazing. But see, speaking in front of those, like doing that event and being a host for 20 people, I was sitting in my car, fucking over the moon. I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I phoned, like my wife was there, but she left because I stayed later to close up and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just took 5-10 minutes to myself in the car, just going, I need to take that, whatever this is, I need to take this further. I need to create something here. And my heart was beating. I was honestly one of the most weirdest, emotional, crazy experiences ever. So from that, 3 months later, I started another event, basically same again, giving a platform to 4 other creatives, and we managed to get 35 people this time. Still 10 of them family and friends.
Yeah.
But again, the word was starting to spread. This kind of what I was shouting about was how creativity can create social good in the area. Like I really believe that we had a lot of kind of deprived areas in Inverclyde, and I was saying, like, imagine like we had a mural that could brighten up the whole area. Like Australia has this, Brisbane has it, everywhere has this, but we don't. Like, if we do this could brighten up someone's day, because you never know if someone's walking down the street who could be depressed or just having a shit day. They see a mural which is colourful, and it could have a significant motto or like word in it or something that could really touch their heart and bring a smile, and it could make them have a more positive day. And when I started sharing these things out, I was like, didn't have any aim or goal or anything at all. It was just me being off the cuff, passionate as I go. But one thing that you don't realise is that you don't know who's actually in the crowd.
Yeah.
So from that, there ended up being one of the local councillors, there was a politician involved, several businessmen, and they were all going back to coming away from the event. It was very, very positive, and then from the event, started sharing the kind of story of what I was trying to achieve, and whatever that was. I was trying to just spread positive through creativity. So this word started to spread to a woman called Louise Hunter. So Louise spent 30 years in London, and she runs an international events management company, and her clients are like the New York Times and like French president and stuff like that.
Small clients.
Yeah, it's very, very small.
Yeah.
Jet sets all over the world, right? So she actually lives like 4-minute walk away from me. She got in contact with Andrew Bowman, and he says, you, Louise, need to hook up and just have a conversation. So she had one of Creative Inverclyde, and she says, I want to know more about it. I had this conversation with Louise, and I spent 3 hours with this woman, and we were just on the same level, like how I believe that creativity can create social good. She's like, I want to help you. I want to jump on board. Whatever you're doing, I want to be a part of it. And I'm like, what? I says, you're working with like presidents. And she's like, I've worked with Bill Clinton, I've worked with those people. Says, but your energy and your passion means so much more to me than all of them people. And I was just going, and I got overwhelmed. I'm even saying it now, I'm getting that emotional about it.
Yeah.
Because it's from the heart. I genuinely believe that I could make a difference this way. So she's like, right, okay, I'll jump on board, whatever it is we're going to do. So from that, we had a conversation with Andrew, who's the guy I told you at the start.
Yeah.
Andrew was in the same wavelength the whole time with me. And then we had a kind of initial discussion, the three of us, and thought, why don't we join forces and actually make this a thing, an actual social enterprise?
Yeah.
So I think it's now been 8 or 9 months now, and we're officially a social enterprise called Creative Inverclyde. And the whole purpose of it is how creativity can create social good within Inverclyde and Scotland, which has just been incredible, and it's honestly snowballed big time. So these events that we've been putting on is giving other creatives a kind of platform to share the story. So one event was 20, the second event was 35, the next event was 100, right? And then the next event was 150 we got. Right, and I'm trying to put this in perspective. This is a small town. Like, I don't know if this statistic is 100%. I don't know the exact numbers, but around 70% of the Scottish population stays in towns outside of the main cities of Glasgow, Edinburgh, and Aberdeen. 70%. So no one is catering for them in the creative industry. There's nothing at all.
Yeah,
true.
So what was happening was I was pushing this out on social media, and I was speaking loud and proud about it. Being open, saying I have no idea what I'm actually trying to do yet, but this is where I'm going. And then Louise and Andrew have totally formalised it, and being the brains of the operation, and the much older and more wiser people than me, much more experienced, and they've kind of reined it in and saying this is our main purpose, and that's going, which is fantastic. So I've started to broadcast that across the world as much as possible, and then it's reaching out to other communities. So I'm going to say towns like such as Paisley and Ayrshire and even Glasgow, which is like an hour away from my hometown and stuff. So people are travelling away down here just to be part of this event.
Wow.
But what we're doing at these events is quite smart in terms of networking and bringing people together. So you'll have maybe 4 speakers, or maybe you have 1 headline speaker for the night. But at the end, we do this thing called Creative Connections. And creatives hate networking, right? They hate networking.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's so necessary, it's so beneficial, it's incredibly beneficial to their careers, because where I stay, there's a lot of independent businesses in the creative world, whether it's like furniture store or like crafting pillows to clothing or to whatever. And a lot of them have kind of been struggling, in honesty. And finally, that's caught up. So what they've always said, and the feedback we got was, we don't know who's in the room. I wish we could connect, and we could connect our potential collaborations. So what we've done is creative collaborations. So it's essentially speed networking. And what we do is we bring in Heather, who works from a little craft art store, and it's also bringing her involved as well. And she does this groups of 3 for 4 minutes, and you've got to introduce yourself, you've got to say what you do, and see if there's any possible connections. And then you ring the bell, and then you move on, right? But what is happening from that is leading to amazing opportunities, collaborations, and exciting friendships as well. People have actually made friendships from it, which is amazing. It's more and more than just business. It's connecting people with other creatives in the area, and it's actually finding people who are like the same interests as you. And it's something that's hard, especially in a small town. One of the moments that stood out to me was I was in this group, and it was this older lady, and she ran a music event company. But she was struggling to find certain artists, right? The boy next to me who was in this group was a bagpiper, right? But he was a graphic designer as well, but he wants to become known for his bagpiping, but he couldn't ever find someone to represent him. And I'm like, here you go, here's Dave and here's Sheila. I was like, you two should meet and connect. So they've now went on, and he's now touring across Scotland with Sheila representing him.
Yeah.
And he's now doing his bagpiping tour, but he's also doing graphic design or the market material for it.
Yeah.
So he's using these skills.
Perfect.
And I was just like, that's fucking awesome. Like,
Wow.
just being able to connect the dots for people is really, really empowering. And the constant people who connect with me and say, even local businesses, Craig, can you recommend a local photographer? Because they want to work with local people. And I'd be like, here's a list. So, and that's been great for me to connect the dots for some people. So that event thing is one part of it. So we're building this creative community, which is fantastic. And it's growing and growing and growing. And it's not just about Inverclyde, the district. It's even spreading to Glasgow, and I won't further the field. I genuinely believe it can reach all over Scotland and all those things. So the word started to spread, this creative Inverclyde thing, and we've actually held conversation with the Scottish Government and the Scottish Parliament about who we are and what we're trying to achieve. And the response has been mind-blowing. I mean, everyone's wanting to get involved and help. And the big thing about it is this is a collaboration for us. It's not just the three of us being like, this is our baby and this is it.
Yeah,
The whole point of this is to collaborate with other people and give them almost like responsibility to do their thing as well, and just help and support in any way we can. So, like I said, we've spoken with the government and stuff, and it's been leading to several amazing projects as well. So one of them is working with the local prison. So my wife Ali is a mental health nurse, and she works in the prison, and she's always wanted me to go in and speak to the prisoners and give like an inspiring story, or just basically an account of what I do. But to be honest, when she first said this to me, I was a bit scared, and I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't really know what my aim was going to be, but it's something I wanted to do. So I spoke to Louise and Andrew about this, and they're like, how can we manifest into something tangible? And we're like, why don't we do an art exhibition based on prisoners' artwork, and giving the prisoners a voice to share their story? And I just, like a light bulb, like, fuck, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So now we're actually creating this art exhibition next year, working with some of the prisoners. Some of their artwork is unfucking real. I mean, it blows me out the water. Like, I've seen this stuff and I'm like, fuck, it's just like, I can't believe this. So I can't wait to showcase that to the world. But what we're also doing is we're collaborating with other artists across the world with the prisoners as well. And I've been working with prisoners doing a workshop. So one of the most special moments for me was doing the very, very first workshop, and it was just going in and basically sharing my story.
Yeah.
And when I started to explain how I came from the same area as most of these men, and I've gone on to do all these things, they were like, fucking hell, like, that's amazing. Like, it's gradually, I remember some of the guys actually sitting out in the chair and their eyes were on. So from that, we're saying, right, okay, we want to do this event, an art exhibition. Do you want to get involved? Yes, love it, because it gives them, I don't want to say it gives them a purpose, but it gives them a focus in what they want to do, and it's all about them. It's nothing like I'm just giving them a platform to share and say their voice.
There's no theme, or it's just...
No, it's more or less for them. I think, it's more about them just showing the voice and what they want to basically educate the people on the outside.
Yeah.
Like, basically, don't follow my footsteps in a sense. But from that workshop, there was 15 guys, and I stepped out of that room and I went into like a side room, and I was like taking a break and I had to speak to someone or whatever. And then the art teacher came running in. She's like, Craig, like, you need to come in and see this. I'm like, okay. So I've walked back into the classroom, and it's 15 guys sitting around a large square table. Yeah. And they're all talking and collaborating and sketching.
Wow.
And at first I'm like, what's the deal? What's the big deal here?
Yeah.
He's like, Craig, we've been working with prisoners for like 15 years, and we've tried so many different techniques and workshops just to get them to speak to one another. You come in here for 15 minutes and you've told your story, and look at them, they're all talking and collaborating, sharing ideas. Like, these prisoners don't talk to one another. They don't. Wow. But you've made, somehow, whatever you've done is inspired them to talk. And I was just going, fuck.
That's
powerful. So that was an amazing moment. But I think the most special thing from that was there was two young lads who were getting released. I think it was they've been released now. And what I found out is from my talk, they wanted to make their life much better and they didn't want to fall back in that negative ways. They've now went on to study graphic design.
Wow.
Because they've seen what I've done and they went, I want to do that, and he's doing such a positive thing with his life.
Yeah.
So for those two guys who are now going to study graphic design, and if anyone tells me that or says that creativity can't change the world, that's a load of bullshit. Like, those two guys are now changing their life based on my 15 minutes of getting in there and just being willing to share my story and how creativity can actually make a difference. Every time I say that, I get choked up because it's literally changing something that's like, it's fucking bonkers. And moments like that make me appreciate everything that I have in life totally, because it can easily be taken away from you. And that's just what happened to a lot of prisoners in there. And their life is challenging and tough, but it takes a lot of balls for them to make a change. And I totally respect them, regardless of what they've done. I don't know what they've done. I don't want to know and all this stuff. I take them as who they are and whatever they want to be. And that was incredible. So that's just one thing that's going on with Creative Inverclyde. The other thing is, so Edinburgh Fringe is like a big massive festival in Edinburgh, which is incredible. It's a combining art, culture, theatre, dance, everything you can imagine, and we want to take that element and bring it down to our small town, which is Gourock, which is within Inverclyde, and it's this high street which is so small, it's ridiculous, but it's like 95% of the shops are like independently owned, and it's what we're doing is collaborating with the shops to create venues. So it'll be like, so there's a confectionery shop, like a sweetie shop, and we're going to have a comedian in the back of the shop, like doing a talk, and then there's a laundrette, and we're going to do like a theatre performance in the laundrette. And there's also like there's an old pub, and we're going to do Robert Burns, which is like a famous Scottish poet, and we're going to have recitals of Scottish poetry in this pub, and it's all over like 2 days, and I'm going to create like a live art mural trail as well across this high street, and it's going to be like pop-up music and food and all those kind of things, and nothing like this has ever existed in my area. It's never existed at all. So this is going to be revolutionary. It's going to blow everybody's mind. It's blowing my mind before it even begun. So that's another thing that we're doing as well. And just there's various other projects on the go right now, potential film studios, setting up a creative space as well. So a big thing for me is I work from home, but there's other creatives in the area who are struggling for a space to work. And what tends to be is there's offices, right? And they're fucking torture. Like, it's just, you're working in other offices, there's not creative, there's nothing, no buzz to it. So a lot of people are like, we need somewhere. So as part of Creative Inverclyde, we want to help try and facilitate that. So we're trying to work with the council and various other building people to try and create a space. We're now potentially getting somewhere, which is great. And what is happening is, because we're creating a space, it's bringing people from the cities to the coast. So where I stay, it's a brilliant place for having a family and culture and friends and going for beer and socialising. It's an incredible place. In the city, like, it's great. Don't want Glasgow, Edinburgh's all fantastic, but cost of living can be expensive, and what you can get where I stay compared to the city is much different. But a lot of the creatives have said that that's the kind of thing that's holding me back, is come to your areas because there's not a creative space. But now that I'm starting to kind of put the seeds in and seeing it grow, people are more inclined to move to the area, which actually builds the economy in the area as well. And so, that's probably the most kind of side project that's going on right now. It does take a lot of my time, and like, I don't get paid. I don't, just declare like this is nothing to do with paid. Like, the biggest thing about this is I want to leave a legacy in terms of let me restart that. When I was younger, I didn't know you could have a career in graphic design, or I'm sure you're the same. You didn't know you could be a photographer or all those kind of things. And the biggest frustration for me is the creative industry plays a huge part to the economy, and still schools are not like facilitating or saying how important it actually be, and you can actually have a career as a full-time illustrator or photographer or even designer. So I want my kids to grow up knowing that they can have a career colouring in and drawing and taking photographs and actually saying this hobby can be a career. And I kind of think, imagine if we knew that information long before we got into the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have, you don't know what, it could have benefited your career, but everything happens for a reason. Now, that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to create Inverclyde, so my future kids and my friends' kids could grow up knowing that they can actually make a career and make a living from the creative industries. Because if you do that, then the knock-on effect is that will make the economy so much better.
Yeah, that's so much value.
Exactly. So it's trying to think long-term, and the biggest thing I keep saying to my wife about it, like, see if I give Creative Inverclyde 10, 15 years, if as much as possible, 100%, and then pass on the reins, I'm more than happy to do that. And she's like, but it's your thing, like, you started it. And I'm like, but it's not about me, it's about the legacy, and it's about moving in terms of, when I say legacy, I mean Creative Inverclyde, not me personally. It's leaving an impact. So in the next 10, 15 years, I really do hope to have creative spaces and museums and all those kind of new and amazing creative things happening in the area, and actually making a difference in people's lives. And if I can do anything in my life, that would be the most amazing entire thing. And it all stemmed from my own career. From doing typing, lettering, and seeing the impact that it can make on people. And I just realised, how can I take that but make it bigger? And that's where this Creative Inverclyde came from.
That's awesome, man.
Crazy to say. Okay, you had an event, 25 people, somehow ended up in a prison, and then now like a comedy show in a candy store, all because of that. That's wild.
I know. I'm very much like, I act like if something comes to my head or there's an idea, I just act on it, and if it doesn't work, I move on. What I think tends to happen is people get so hung up on the idea and overanalyze an idea far too much, and it cripples them. And I've seen it, like
paralysis by analysis.
And I think one of the conversation I had with Louise, and she's such an amazing person. She's worked with so many other amazing creative people across the world, but she says the thing about you, Craig, is you're so not ruthless, but you're gun ho, and you know what you want, and you know you don't fuck about. Like if something's negative, you just go fuck them. Like I do. Say fuck.
I need a bit of that.
And Louise always says that, like, I wish I had that mentality such a long time ago. So it's a breath of fresh air to have you saying that. And Louise is like the nicest woman in the entire world. She probably doesn't swear at all. So it's hard to swear. I go, sorry, Louise, sorry. So it's but the great thing about the three of us together is we come from three different backgrounds, different experiences, but combining that together, because Andrew's got the business side, Louise has got the business side of how to work it all. I'm a creative input, Louise creative input. Just mashing it together has just been so powerful, honestly. And it's great because if one of us is going up, like for instance, I'm here in Australia, like I can't really do much Creative Inverclyde stuff, so they two are picking it up. Now Louise goes away to India when I go back, so I'll have to pick up, and then it just works three ways, and it means it keeps rolling. And then whether it's events or whatever we're doing next, so it's always moving. And what tends to happen is people start something, and if it doesn't get enough traction right away, they give up. And it's just persevering, and it's been tough. It's been really tough, and some things I've been questioning the amount of time I've been given to it. Is this worthwhile? Is it actually making a difference? But you need to look long term and look bigger every time. Like I go back to my own career, and when I thought about when I was crafting away doing all these type designs, and for 2 years no one knew who I was. I kept thinking, one day, Craig, like it will pay off. It will pay off. And now, like, I'm managing to tour the world and stuff like that. Fucking hell.
Was there a moment where you like you knew you like blew up, or was it kind of just a gradual build? Or?
It was a gradual build of stuff. I would say small kind of moments. There's not been a specific. I couldn't say like a specific. Moment at all.
It wasn't a project that just
went. No, just small wins along the way and celebrating them. But I still don't think of myself as like I've made it or anything like that. I never think that. I'm always improving. I always see areas to improve and how I can push it further each time. But it's been great being able to work with clients who give me an opportunity to do that. There's a lot of trust involved in doing that as well. The biggest thing is just actually building a relationship as well. And I'm so honest. I'm ridiculously honest with my clients and saying, like, I can't do this. Like, it's like, you want this done in this time frame. Like, I can't do this. And pushing back as well, which is maybe shocked a few clients, but if I do it, then I'll just physically and mentally break myself, and it's not right. But that's just side chatting. I'm just rabbiting on here. Sorry. There's no way of totally other stuff, and I just went down this rabbit hole of different areas.
So what have you got planned for your time in Australia, away from this tours and everything else?
My wife Ali has been amazing doing like an itinerary and like sorting stuff out. So we're in.
Shout outs to the design wives.
Yeah, design wives. They keep us on track. Because I came here, had no idea what I was going to do. She's like, right, well, today we're going to see koalas, we're going to see this, we're going to do this more. But the biggest thing I wanted to do was Noosa. Like Noosa was just, I went there last year and I was only there for a day and it blew me away. Like, I'm like, I fucking love this place. Yeah. But I remember phoning Ali when I was that time last year, or I was last year, saying, we need to go here. I'm going to take you here. And I said, one of those things of affirmation, I'm going to take you need to share this with me. So the past 2 days we've been in Noosa, and I did turn my phone off. I didn't look at any emails, and I made sure she'd done the same. She bloody Instagram, or, all that stuff. Keeping everyone updated of the tour back home, because I'm terrible. So another thing as well is, see with social media, like I only put up work stuff. Right, see, I don't put anything else up because I can't be asked. Like, see, I've got 10 close pals back home. We grew up together, and like, we don't care about fucking what you're up to or whatever. We'll go back when I go back home. We'll make a plan to go to a pub and we'll just sit and talk nonsense. And not even talk about design work or anything like that. None of them are in design, my creative world. Yeah, and we'll just talk nonsense, and that's been brilliant for me. That's a brilliant big thing that I do away from this. I'm going side tangent big thing. You asked me about what I'm doing in Australia, and I'm talking about going
having beers at home.
So we're just doing a lot of sightseeing stuff in Australia and stuff. I should have got Ali to get me the list. I have no idea what I've got upcoming next. I know I'm doing the workshop tomorrow, and I've got the Agda Awards on Saturday night, which will be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Checking out Brisbane on Sunday, and then I'll go away to Melbourne and Hobart.
Have you been to either of those before?
No, I've never been. So it's going to be super fun. So just got to try, because I'm in there for a short space of time. I'm maxing it out. Yeah. So come late at night, I'm so tired. Yeah. And we're like, I've got to catch an early flight.
Pushing it.
Yeah, I know, big time. So that's the plan for Australia, and just see where it goes. Really.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, I reckon we're getting close to the hour mark, so we'll hit you with a few hard-hitting final questions. So go back to early in the conversation. You said you were into sneakers and shoes.
Yes.
Have you got like a dream shoe, or what's like your go-to dream shoe?
Dream shoe? It's always Nike Air Max.
Any particular colour?
No. I chop and change usually. No, I've never got a specific one. It's usually what I'm feeling at that moment. I don't. Usually that time when I celebrate, I go for the sneakers. I go to the shop and go, "What's the best pair of Nike Air Max that I see in this shop?" And then I pick them up. Yeah. In the different colours every single time. Not a specific one. I just think
the Max is a classic.
They're just classic every time. My wife did give me a pair of Adidas Stan Smiths.
Okay.
In pure white, and I was at first trying them on, and I was like, I'm against all the knife guys here. This is not right.
If you're not, you're not.
I know. And I was like, they don't feel good. And I'm like, tried them after that day. I'm like, they're not bad. They look good as well. So, but I'm still Nike every time. Every time.
Yeah, I'm Jordans.
Jordans.
I don't have any. I just love the shoes. They're just so iconic. Yeah. Iconic over any sort of functional fashion.
I'm Vans. But
are you Vans?
Yeah.
I don't find them comfy. Are they?
They're not Nike Air comfy. No, because they don't have a big.
Cushion.
Big cushion.
Cushy sort of guy.
Yeah, no, I've tried to wear sneakers, and I just look fucking weird. It's not really.
You're going out to do some sport. And
I know. Yeah.
I just like fucking.
I'm not much. I'm not really built like a runner. Yeah.
I love that honesty
Yeah.
from you. Yeah. I was like, fucking good.
So I've got a question.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's not really that exciting. So when you're traveling around the world doing your tours, what's one thing that you miss from home?
My mum's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mum's a.
So the food?
Yeah, food.
Yeah.
I love the food when I go to the show.
Yeah.
The food in the show has been awesome, but the home comforts.
Yeah.
My own bed as well.
Yeah.
Don't get you get nice beds in hotels, but I sometimes I
Yeah,
struggle
it's-
to sleep.
It's always a bit crunchy. Though.
Yeah,
The sheets
it's
are-
always a bit crunchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, this may sound a bit strange, but I do miss the culture and the people back home. Like, see if I've been somewhere that's not been as friendly, like, Australia's been super friendly, and I absolutely love it here, but there's sometimes I've been away, and people are just arrogant and arseholes.
Yeah.
And simple things like holding a door for someone.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the way I've been brought up, and my mum's done brilliant at that, and just been like selfless tasks.
Yeah.
And like I said, opening a door for an older lady or helping with her luggage. Or I've just been doing those things, and I've been in cities before, and you see people just ignoring them and
Stepping over them.
and
our own little worlds.
it just pisses me. I get fucking angry at shit like that, and it's just ridiculous. The wife needs to say, calm down, just going to cause a scene.
You might get angry in Melbourne, but probably not in Tassie. I reckon.
Nah, Tassie's
at
chill.
Hobart.
Is
yeah.
it? Sure.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah. It's like a big small town down
Yeah, fair.
All right, Tassie.
there. Yeah.
It's fun. I'm going to butcher it, but what's the best thing to do in your hometown? Is it Gurok?
Europe. Going to pub.
Pub?
Going to pub. Within the high street, or even from the long promenade, actually, there's like 30 shops, 15 are pubs. So you can imagine the pub crawl. So you start at one end and you end up at the other end. It's a full day session with the boys. You come home, you go to take away late at night.
Yeah.
The missus comes in like, "What you been up to all day?" And you're steaming drunk. But anyway, no, I love it. I miss it. I've not done one in a while actually. A pub crawl. I sound like an alcoholic, but I'm not. But I do miss the pub scene's great because it's one of those places. If you are travelling, say, and you're on your own, and you come in and you could just start conversation with and the nicest, friendliest people.
Is there like a rough pub? Like a dodgy
You
pub?
get your dodgy pubs everywhere, don't you? There's one pub is on the corner called Kenpock. We call it the Pirate Pub. Literally, it's a carpet, and it's like you stick to the carpet because someone's drinking on it. It's got a karaoke box. What do you call it? Not karaoke box. What do you call
A jukebox?
it? Jukebox. That's it. But it's like old tunes. It's like it's not been updated in like fucking 25 years. So people purposely go in there, and you ask for a drink, and it comes out. Say it's like you want a draft pint.
Yeah.
But they just give you a can instead.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, it's just like here you go. You just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's not as if you can like a customer service. But that's the beauty of it. That's why you go to these pubs.
Yeah.
There's lots of these ones, and then you get your cocktail bars and stuff. But it's all about what time of day you go as well. There's a structure to it.
Yeah.
So you go to the one pub, you watch your football during the day, you watch your scores. Then after that, you end up across like a few pubs. You may end up going to a cocktail bar about 7 o'clock. 10 guys getting a cocktail, looks a bit weird. Down the cocktail, go, it's a crap. We go to the Pirate Pub. And then we spend a few hours
Just to wash off the cocktail bar. Let's go to the Pirate Pub.
And then it's like, sometimes you get stale beer and stuff like that. And it's just like, but it's all part of the experience. And usually everyone's fucking like fucked at this point. And then you go across the street again to Cleats, which has got like it's a small kind of not a nightclub, but it's like an after party kind of thing, which is really good. So it's on to about 2-3 in the morning, and then at that point you're pretty rubbered and time to go home. It has been a while since I've done that, but one thing
As in weeks?
sorry,
Weeks?
No, one thing I'll always do is Boxing Day is a big thing for me and my pals.
Yeah.
So for the past probably 15 years, there's a group of 10 of us. We all work across the world, but we always come home for Christmas. Always.
That's great.
And the 10 of us go to this one pub. We never go to this pub any other time throughout the year. We go to this pub at 12 in the afternoon, and we are there watching the football. So I don't know if you get over here, but this football, there's games at 12, I think it's 12, 1:30, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and I think there's a 7:30 game this year.
Right.
So we sit in this pub. It's an old man's pub, right? But it's filled with so many guys doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
We see the same people every single year.
that's
And like, what you been up to the past year?
Yeah.
So we get so drunk in there, and then we end up getting into the town and doing the pub crawl and stuff. But the weird thing about that is, not the weird thing, but we speak to our wives and stuff, and they all know that Boxing Day is our only day that we signed off. It's blocked out for anything else. Because a few of the boys have got kids now, and they're like, no, like Boxing Day's the boys' day.
That's
like
a
the
religious event.
You're like, yeah, but we've got kids. No, like this has been going for 15 years now. Like the kids can wait. They get me every other day of the year. Boxing Day's my day. So it's a weird tradition, but it's the best day ever, honestly, and it's ended in some crazy stories, as you can imagine. But I can't tell them here.
What happens on Boxing Day stays on Boxing Day.
Yeah. So you might see me in some poor state on the 27th, hungover.
That's rotten.
Yeah, big time. It's the life of an independent designer. Yeah.
Oh, any other hard-hitting questions?
Nah, I'm done with questions.
I think I just spoke most of the time and just
That's
one story to another.
Honestly, man, it was so good having you here and telling
man.
your stories because, it's amazing.
Thanks for having me. Had a great time. Love the beer, love the sweets as well.
Thanks. Lucky to catch you while you're in town.
Awesome.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
But, let us know where can people find you, follow
So you
all
can,
of his stuff.
All the stuff. You can find me on craigblackdesign.com, and you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter is @_CraigBlack. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm more vocal, you could say, on LinkedIn, so I recommend connecting with me on there. So yeah, that's the kind of place you'll find
How
me.
about
Creative Inverclyde?
Yeah.
Almost
gotta
forgot a good
push
shout. Andrew and Louise will kill me for that.
Yeah.
CreativeInverclyde.com. I'm sure you'll have it in the show notes as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Creative Inverclyde on social media as well. Should be easy enough to find. Usually if you find me, you find Creative Inverclyde somewhere or form.
Cool.
And if anyone's want to reach out, just find me on my email address or whatever and just reach out and say hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. You can find the Off-Brand Podcast on Instagram @offbrandpod. If you sign up to the mailing list, we'll send you a shitty drawing by Craig. So I forgot to prep you for that, but you'll find me on Instagram @CoolDaveOfficial and Kyle @Kyle Tillman.
It's Kiel.
Tillman.
Deal with it.
Thanks for tuning into the Off-Brand Podcast, and we hope you tune in again next episode to hear more of our sexy voices.
Yes, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks.
I got a second voice.
Hello and welcome to Shit. Good start.
You gotta keep that.